There are no perfect people out there for you. There is no perfect wife. There is no perfect husband. You will not have perfect kids. You will not find perfect friends, and you certainly will not work with perfect business partners. No, the truth of the matter is that if you want to build long-term relationships that stand the test of time, not just for a year, 2 or 3 years, but 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years, decades of your life, you need to accept that the people you're going to spend your time with, that you are going to live your life with, are people that are not perfect. People who have flaws, people who possess character traits you would not want to possess, people who live their lives in manners that you do not live. Because if you don't accept this, you are going to fall for the trap that the modern era has set before all of us, a trap that makes us believe that so long as we keep our eyes on the horizon, so long as we look towards greener pastures, we continue to think that so long as we focus on the endless vistas of time, one day, we'll come across the perfect wife, the perfect husband, that lover who is educated and witty and well-groomed, dresses fantastically, speaks eloquently, has everything we want, acts perfectly all the time. You and I will think that we'll come across a business partner that perfectly fills in our gaps, that perfectly allows us to accelerate our plans without any hiccups, without any tension. We will think that we'll come across video game characters, and you and I won't. No, long-term relationships are built by staying with people. You simply need to accept that these are people you want to stay with, you want to build with, come hell or high water. It doesn't matter if you have tension between each other. It doesn't matter if you don't see eye to eye on everything. It doesn't matter if they work out and you don't, if they eat clean and you don't, if they run and you don't, if they like X and you like Y. So long as the differences aren't too crazy, especially fundamentally, you're just going to have to accept that if you want to build a long-term relationship with them, you're going to have to build it. And more importantly, you're going to have to see that these differences between you are what you actually need. Even though your ego doesn't want it, you need it. You need this tension. You need difference between you and your business partner, between you and your wife, you and your husband, you and your kids. You need differences between you and your friends. You need differences between you and your coworkers. You need differences between you and everyone, but specifically the people in your inner circle. Because only through difference can there be dynamism. Only through difference can there be creation. If there isn't any tension, nothing will be made. Without friction, sparks cannot be created. A fire cannot start to rage. You need tension. And in the 21st century, it's a real shame because social media and the internet has made you and I believe that all we need to do is look for a new person. Because the second somebody in our lives doesn't meet every single standard we have, doesn't check off absolutely every single box, anytime somebody displeases us in any manner, insults us in the slightest way, we go running for the hills. And it's no wonder that nobody has long-term relationships. Because to build long-term relationships, you simply have to commit to showing up. In love, you simply commit to loving them every day, whether you feel it or not. You commit to staying. That's it. That's as simple as it gets. It's very difficult because not every day is magic. Not every day is wonderful. But there are going to be days that make you realize just how much you cherish it. Days where you sit up for 6, 7, 8 hours through the middle of the night and you talk about philosophy or politics or religion. Nights where perhaps you drink a little bit too much of the bottle. Nights where things get a little out of hand, but you rein it back in perfectly. Everything flows seamlessly. There are days where everything flows in a majestic way. You go from this event to this event to this event. The chemistry is perfect. Those days do appear, but most of the time it's fairly banal because human life is banal. Human life is difficult. It's full of suffering. It's full of hardship. You deal with anxiety all of the time. You're stuck on your past and how you could have done things differently. You're not actually living in the moment because you're focused on the future and how you want to shape it. forgetting to realize that you need to be here in order to shape that future, in order to make that happen. With all that in mind, you fail to realize that in order to build long-term relationships, you have to commit to building them. And building them is difficult. Building them requires not compromise, but understanding and empathy, placing yourself into their shoes. And so long as you do share fundamental beliefs, or at least a fundamental understanding that you're willing to hear each other out, you're willing to work with each other, you're willing to give and take, then you can build a long-term relationship with them. And you do that by simply saying, I'm going to commit to this person because this person gives me enough of what I want. This person wants to commit to me. And that's the most important thing. If you find somebody who's willing to commit to you, commit to them. It's that simple. But if you're unwilling to do that, you're just never going to find anybody. And you're going to be lost, chasing after ghosts, grasping in shadows. And that's what everybody's doing. And that's why they're so miserable. And in order to take back our autonomy as human beings, autonomy that's quickly being ripped away from us with artificial intelligence, social media programming our brains, with the world becoming ever crazier, with people becoming ever more divided, you and I need to commit to long-term relationships. We need to build clans. We need to localize. It's happening, but it needs to happen quicker. And if it doesn't happen quicker, this world is going to become so fractured to the point where it may be irreparable, at least until a new generation comes along, looks at the mess and realizes, what the hell happened? What did Gen Z do? What did the millennials do? What did the Xers do? Oh, God, we need to fix that. If we don't accelerate this now, Generation Alpha, Generation Beta are going to have to come around and do something about it. And they may not even be able to. So I urge you to consider that perhaps if you're thinking about leaving somebody just because they've displeased you a little bit over the past week or two, but you have a relationship with them that's lasted for 2 or 3 years, give them a shot, work it out, do the difficult labor that it takes to be open, to be honest, to communicate, and communicate, most importantly, that you want to be here, that you want this relationship to work, and that you're willing to do anything to make that happen. Now, of course, if they're not willing to do that, then that's when you cut them off. That's when you say, okay, fine, let's go different ways, amicable split, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'll see you never. Perhaps I will see you later. It'll be all good. I'll be all cordial. But so long as that other person's willing to commit and they really do show the effort to commit to you, sticking around is the obvious choice, even if they're not perfect, which they most definitely won't be. So that I say, God bless. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Much love, peace. This is the New Da Vinci.